Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. It is an honor for me to be able to actually have this conversation with Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, Director of the Center of Sustainable Development at Columbia University, UN Sustainable Development Goals, Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Center for Sustainable Development. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, you're an eminence. It's a pleasure to have you here at the Hispanic Leadership Summit.
Look, the honor is completely mine, and I'm absolutely delighted to be with you at this summit, which is so important. So it's very exciting for me, and greetings to everybody that's participating.
Today, we're here to launch actually an upgrade, if you want, of that tool. I'm very proud that SDSN, the network that you lead, was partnering with the World Human Foundation to deliver what we're going to be announcing today. So please, if you don't mind, talk about this tool, what it means, some highlights.
So we're developing a set of tools together, you and I and your great leadership and our SDSN colleagues, that will be a toolkit to help track progress around the country in the Hispanic community and in different communities as well, because this should be a tool for Hispanic leaders to say, hey, you know what? All of our kids are supposed to be in school. We're supposed to be enabling our children to go get a college degree, because you know how important that is in the 21st century economy. That's going to be key to decent jobs. And we can't have it, as was true in the past, that the college going was limited to children of affluent families. You know, in the United States, if your parents went to university, there's a good chance you will, because you're growing up in upper middle class in a comfortable environment. They can pay for you or so forth. But if you're growing up in a poor household, first in the family, that's hard. And especially the US has made it very, very hard, because tuitions are very expensive. And unlike other countries, we don't have the government support to lower or eliminate the cost of tuition, and we should. And that is part of our mission at SDSN, is to identify the public policies that could really make a difference. One thing I can tell you is that when you get the data, which we will be delivering an ongoing basis on updating and refining and responding to questions and learning from the data, then the idea is translate that into policies. So I think every city should have a sustainable development goals dashboard and plan.
And Professor Sachs, why don't we just like unveil right now so that all our audience can see the dashboard of the H, as we call it, the H SDGs, the Hispanic SDGs. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to read out from the report of the 32 indicators that were compared relatively to the SDG delivery. The Hispanic community was most likely to be the racial group least well served by any state relative to the white community in access to early education, those not seeing a doctor due to cost, and a percentage of children in poverty. Hispanic women have the largest pay gap according to the research that we did, and we're launching for all of you today with Professor Sachs and SDSN. In 2019, Hispanic people made up only 3% of elected officials in the US, despite making up 18% of the population. And one of the biggest findings of all areas is that we don't have racially disaggregated data for including in food security, maternal mortality, and lead in the drinking water. Professor Sachs, giving those data points that we found in this dashboard that we did together, what's your analysis?
Well, my analysis is that we have some real opportunities for progress in the Hispanic community. And I want to put my finger on one of them, where you said that only 3% of elected officials are Hispanic, but the Hispanic population is 18% of the population in the United States. By the way, half the growth of the American population between 2010 and 2020. And the vast majority are citizens, of course, and go out and run for office. I want to vote for you. That's my message, because we need your voice, your leadership, your guidance, and the more representation, the more our great diversity in this country will be well represented and we will not leave.
Professor Sachs, I do want to ask you a couple of more questions, if you don't mind. So we're very embedded in racial, like the world has woken up on racial justice. A lot of action has been taken. A lot of action needs to be taken. How, if you're a company, if you're a government, how do you embed? What is the overlap of diversity and inclusion and sustainability and purpose? And how do we make it easy for people to be able to embrace diversity and inclusion while keeping sustainability at the same time? What are the overlap areas, and what do you think you should take, like we should say to CEOs of companies that are trying to do the right thing?
I believe that diversity in the workplace is a huge value for recruitment and retention of the most talented people. And environmental sustainability, it's not an accident that those go together.
Right.
Actually, social inclusion will lead to better environmental management, and environmental justice will be part of the transformation to a safer, greener, more sustainable society.
I have another question. Like in a way, how do you see Latinos contributing to the progress of America?
As individuals, to any family, and to Hispanic families, certainly along with every family, I would say, just do the best you can for your children, for their health care, their nutrition, their education, their safe environment for growing up, and so that they can really blossom and gain the health and the sense of security and well-being, the sense of solidarity with other children and with society, and of course the scholastic skills and the knowledge that they will need for good jobs in the future. This is the most important investment conceivable for a society, is investing in its children.
Well, thank you so much. After this session, we're going to lead into the sessions talking about our agenda: better health, better education, better jobs, better gender equality, very focused on solutions. We call that the agenda of progress, because all what Latinos want and what you really unites us, Professor Sachs, is our desire to progress. The problem is that the higher we go, the lonelier it gets, and that's why it's important to gather people to see how do we push the agenda together. Any final words, any advice on a group of leaders that are gathered today discussing how do we actually, what are the solutions and who are the players on those areas?
Thank you for your vision. Thank you for promoting the Hispanic leadership. And please, with SDSN, this is not only a report. It's not only, if I could put it that way, a dashboard or a set of tools. It's a partnership. And it's a partnership for future years, future meetings. Next time I won't be halfway around the world when the meeting's taking place, so I'll be with you in person. But we're going to work on this together, and we're going to see that the Sustainable Development Goals provide a lot of leverage, a lot of guidance, a lot of good ideas, and a great direction for building the future that we want. So I really thank you for the partnership, and I look forward to all of our continued efforts together.
Thank you so very much, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network and Director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University, co-chair of Hispanic Leadership Summit. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you so much for the partnership with SDSN and the launch of this incredible new tool dashboard that we will make sure gets into the hands of every Hispanic leader.
Fantastic. Wonderful.